Today I'm going to present share server replication. So before going to the OpenStack Manila driver implementation, I just want to give you the high level overview. How does our backend work for that share server replica? So as you can see that in this picture, we have the two sides, side A and side B. And in side A, we have SVM A1, and in that SVM we have two volume V1 and V2, and we have two data lif1 and lif2, and both lif are mounted on some client, and there is some IO running on this, and this V server is protected through the automated means active sync policy, automated failover. So that means once we have the replication relationship stable, it will create a V server with DP destination, and it will replicate all the configuration. That means whatever the volume we have, same volume we have in the destination V server with a rewrite mode, and it will have the same lif. On only the difference is that lif will be in down state. Down state means the operational state of lif will be down, so we can't write the data on the secondary side. And also we have this mediator, which will keep monitoring the status of your SnapMirror relationship, and in case of the failover, or in case of your primary site went down, so it will make the secondary site as a primary, and in that case even your client is able to write the IO, because we are making those data as operational. So there is no data loss. So RTO and RPO both will be the 0 in this case. So this is the high level overview. And yeah, Kumar, can you just move? Any question here actually? So yeah. So what we are going to implement based on what we are supporting. So yeah, Kumar, second slide. So what is we have in is or is not actually. So SMS NAS is the share server granular replication, not the share granular replication. Okay, this is only supported for 9.19.1 version or later. We are just supporting this for DHSS too, because we are managing OpenStack side. We are managing that share server, and we can just create the replication on those share server. And as this is the latest ONTAP release, we are introducing this, so we will have the only REST support from the ONTAP side. However, for any JAPI client, we will make the REST to force the REST to make sure that this workflow is still available for the JAPI driver also. Only pre-canned automated failover policy will be supported. We are not supporting any custom policy here. And there is some compatibility issue means so in case of we have the snap log enable share on the SVM, so those kind of SVM or share server we will not going to protect. And um, also if we have SVM in the SMS relationship, and if somebody want to create the snap log share on those SVM, so those snap log creation will fail. Also, we don't have support for the FlexSwap to creating the SMS NAS relationship for that. And fan out support we are not supporting in this release. And additionally, so if somebody want to create the share replica for the SMS protected share, so that will also not supported. And creating the replication on the share server that contain the replicated volume, so that will also not support in this release. Okay, we have supported version only AFX. Supported protocol is v3, v4, and SMB 2.x, 3.x. Those one we are going to support. Mediator and the pair cluster pairing is the kind of prerequisite for this kind of operation. So this should be pre-configured. And share server migration will not supporting, and share migration we are going to support this. So this is the high level is or is not, which we are going to support from the OpenStack point of view. So we can move to the etherpad. Okay, so I have already given the high level overview. What is that shared server means SVM replica. So SVM replica means if you means we can say that this is the shared server replica with respect to the Manila point of view. So implementing this feature, we have introduced some CLI. So the first CLI is creating the shared server replica. So we have the two CLI option. So the difference here is in first CLI we are giving that host backend name, means where you are going to create the secondary SVM, secondary shared server. And second option is where we are giving the availability zone and the share network. So based on this parameter, we will go and create the secondary SVM. So we just want your opinion on this, which will be the preferred way of creating the secondary SVM, because we are our preferred way with the first CLI actually, where we will giving the backend name and it will go and create the SVM on that. Yeah, we want means a community opinion on this. Okay. So yeah, yeah, Kiran.
So will this be going to admin only API?
No, I think non-admin also it will able to create that replication.
Because right now the share server APIs are admin only. So I assume. Uh, I think
Okay.
the first one will have more control of the
More.
replica creation and probably
Okay.
no involvement of any scheduler and etc.
Okay. So first one looks good. Okay. Um,
I
okay.
mean, that's my
Yeah.
view.
Yeah. Even we are going to any comment, Carlos and Gautam on this means.
Eh, Uh,
Yeah.
no, I guess I mean trying to wrap my head around this in terms of this is invisible to the end user, right? Or what amount of visibility does an end user have for a replicated uh, share? Where in this case, what's happening is the entire share server is getting replicated. So it does not really fit into the existing model where the end user is controlling, the failover for individual shares. This is controlling the failover for a group of shares, and
Right.
and the I mean the way you could think about it is maybe as an end user they probably want everything that's exported on a shared network or a shared network subnet specifically to be replicated somewhere else. Um, so that would be the control that an end user would probably see. Correct. It's not like this where they see, they like Kiran was saying, there is no visibility for share servers there. They don't really know that. You could have any number of share servers within a share network subnet, and that's by design, right? They don't really um, control that today.
Mhm.
So that's my that'll be the place where I'll build my question. What is it that you want the end users to know about as far as your application stuff is concerned? Do you not care? Like, is this just a transparent thing to end users?
Um, so our means yeah, it should be transparent to the end user. Means at least he should know where he is going to provision his secondary SPM or secondary state server. So that is the main thing we have actually.
So you're saying they should know or they shouldn't know?
They should know actually, and that is based on this parameter actually, because it should be across the cluster, and they should know actually which backend they have to pick up. Another thing that they have to do some uh, peering and this mediator configuration. So they should know which should be the secondary backend where they are going to replicate this SPM.
Okay, I think, I mean, my concern was the OpenStack end user, not the OpenStack administrator.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, I mean, I'm still building on what Kiran was saying, that
Mm-hmm.
end users in OpenStack, which is a non-privileged end user,
Right.
not an admin, just a member of a project. Today they can create replicas of shares. Right, that's what the
Right.
replication feature is based out of. It's based on
Right.
tenant-driven replication and
Mm.
failover.
Mhm.
So this does not seem to be in that same line, right? We're inventing a whole new concept here.
Mhm.
That we're inventing a way to take a bunch of shares that an end user has and
Mhm.
replicate them. That's what I'm seeing. But correct me if I'm
Right.
wrong, because I feel like you're yeah, I mean, if you're trying to define an end user experience, it wouldn't be based on shared servers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Anup and Kiran have
Yeah,
some.
Kiran. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the same thought,
Mhm.
because the share servers
Mhm.
are not visible to the regular users.
Mhm.
So even in this case, while executing the command at line number 10, they should be having the knowledge of share server, and obviously since they don't have an access, uh, they will probably not able to perform any operation with respect to share server.
So, so Kiran, when you so in collectively when we mean end user, it is the tenants, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, think
Right.
of
but non-admin.
a regular user of a cloud,
Non-admin.
a non-admin user of the cloud.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So, okay. So, okay. Even I was not aware actually कि, this share server operation we can't do for the non-admin operator. So, so okay.
So the whole idea behind these APIs, right, that we were kind of,
Mm.
trying to propose was to actually make it transparent to the end user because at the end of the day, the user is managing a share, but indirectly he is also managing a share server because because he is looking for drivers to manage the share server. And when the replication, so this is true for some of, I think there could be other vendors who would want the share servers to implicitly get replicated while creating the shares, and there can be other drivers who might want to or who may be supporting this at share server level. And yes, that is where the complexity of this solution is, Gautam, Carlos, right? That this is at least from the implementation point of view from the Netapp side, it is actually at share server level. So if we have to make it a little bit more transparent, we will have to come up with APIs that can actually allow them to do that while creation of the or managing the share server itself as a resource. Yep,
Yeah,
go
got
Help
it.
ahead.
help me, and I mean, unpack
Mm.
that for me. Like, why would an end user benefit from this?
Right.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Maurice.
Yeah, I think um, what this feature brings us is that we actually should not care about where the share is located anymore. So in which like availability zone or whatever, because we can, the backend automatically can fail over to a second availability zone. So if you just look at that feature, you would not have to expose this to the end user. You can just say, just have a flag and say this is an HA share, and that is a multi-availability zone or whatever regional share, and you would not even have to expose that to the end users. The reason why this is exposed, I think, is because we also want to give the end users the possibility to do planned failovers, so that they get trust in this feature, that they can play around with it, and really see it in action, I think.
Right. I think, yeah, I was also about to just double down on the same point that though it may not seem to be a feature that end users is able to use, there is a way to, operate upon it, uh, maybe via the admin user who can actually uh, manage the replication at the share server level. Does that help? At the end of the day, the end user is actually looking for a share to be replicated, right? It can either be via the share server or it can be at the share level.
No, the idea of adding share level replication was uh, you know trying to give them control over how to build out a replication strategy, so that the administrator doesn't have to get involved, right? So and I as an end user know what my workloads are, so maybe I decide what kind of replication I need, where should my data be available, because I'm running some workloads in AZ1, and I would like for all of the workloads to move to AZ2 when something happens, or for my load sharing reasons I'm going to run it in AZ1 and AZ2, and some sort of data locality is established when I'm running some workloads over there or something like that. That's why the end users have control over that share replication concept. But if you're trying to extend it to a group of shares, it actually becomes an infrastructure concern, similar to what Cinder did with their cheesecake replication, right? And what they are trying to do is hide the details from the end user, but protect their data, as a group. So protect all of their volumes that make sense to provision on that back end are automatically protected, so that they can do the failovers should something happen. But this is an administrator driven workflow. An end user probably knows this and pays for this. Hey, my data is protected, but they're not really controlling that failover. Um, is
Right.
it does that, does it make more of a sense for this model, or are you still trying to bake on top of the end user experience that we have started building in Manila?
No, I think that makes perfect sense actually, because at the
Right.
end of the if it can be managed by the admin, but I can choose to replicate or unreplicate a share as part of that share server replication. That kind of flexibility is what we want to give the customer here, right? Or the consumer here, which means, I am not bound to when I create a share and say my share goes to that share server. I'm not bound to, account for that particular share to be always replicated. I can choose to not replicate that share, and that flexibility will continue to be there at the share level. What we are trying to do here is, if someone doesn't care about it, he implicitly gets the protection if he chooses the network which has a share server which is already replicated. And it can be managed by the admin if he chooses to say, in future doesn't, if he wants to remove the share server replication, or if they want to edit, or tweak the metadata of the share server replication, they can choose to do that at the share server level via admin user. It is something that is not going to be available to the end user or to the tenant. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Carlos.
Yeah, that was something that I
Yeah.
was also going to bring up. When we bring this to the table, like the whole share server thing being an admin feature, and then we
Mhm.
try to introduce one piece that is not, like it would be project member could use, for example. Then you can create the replicas of you would be able to create the replicas of the share server, you would be able to promote, but you could not even list the share servers the way things are. And then I think we would be forced to be changing the whole approach, right? Because if you cannot list the share servers that you have currently, then it gets more difficult to see what share servers you have, and what to promote, what is the destination share server, and stuff like that. So I do think that it will, like it brings other things to the table as well, which are workflows that we, like we'll need to change. They exist currently in the code.
Mm.
So yeah,
Right.
that's also a bit of a downside to it as well.
Right. So if we don't support, means if you support this share server only for admin, so I think then replica only the option will be we need to support for the admin only. Otherwise, we need to make the other changes to make it work. Because if non-admin, he can't list down what are the shares server I have. So how he can go and create the replication? So
Yeah, that's my point.
right.
If we do this only for the replication, I think it would also mean that we would need to change other things. Like if you cannot list something, how would you be able to replicate and like see what's there and do things that you need to. Um,
But
that's something that can be challenging.
but Carlos, isn't the whole point of a share server to keep it at that level, right? Because the the tenant doesn't want to manage the share server that comes along with the share creation, and that was the whole reason why we introduced the DHSS true
Yeah.
flag, right? Otherwise, the customers can always do this via the SVMs or V servers or share servers that are managed on the storage and bring them as a brownfield scenario without DHSS flags, right?
Yeah.
So thinking in those terms, I can always go and do this, for DHSS is equal to false by managing this, say, on the storage. And then in that case, um, the only thing that I'm getting is everything is either protected or not protected. But what this adds to the management is a capability to manage the share servers along with the replication um, at that level.
Gotham.
Yeah, so it looks like you're converging on the on this being an admin feature, right?
Mhm.
Am I
Yep,
understanding
yep.
that right? Okay. So
Right.
next, can we then ask what is the experience like when you do a promotion in this case?
Yep. Go ahead, Girish. I think
Yeah, we
what
will
was
have
it?
down that yeah, promote replica. So yeah, so this is the promote replica workflow. Okay. So so promote means when you want to make sure that your secondary will become the primary and your peer will become the means your sorry primary will become the secondary and the peer will become the primary. Okay. And so the beauty of on tap actually, so if you see that in case of unplanned failover or planned failover, we just making sure that your means secondary means which become the primary, actually we are just changing the lift status which is initially operational down, we are making it up. And because everything we are migrating from the primary to secondary, so there is no impact on the IO path actually. So client will able to write the data in case of failover or failback operation. So there is no impact on the IO. Okay. And so we are introducing the options. So from OpenStack side, when user can do that promote operation with this condition. Okay. So in that case, there is no impact on IO. And in case of unplanned failover, we need to, I think we need to change the status of share replica, and based on that, user has to promote the replica, share replica. We have one open question is, in case of failover, okay, so what is going to happen for the new volume provisioning and any operation on the existing share? So that is still we are figuring out, or if you have any opinion, so
So,
to
so
solving this one,
maybe,
IOPath is very clear for us. There is no impact because OnTap handle that one. Only that provisioning part actually, where because it's completely changing the cluster for us, right? So there's it's kind of open, which we are still exploring. Yeah. No.
yeah, just to add, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is a zero RPO and near zero RTO solution. So what basically happens is the failover is actually managed by a mediator which sits in a third site, and it actually kind of does the heartbeat on its own, and it ends up, doing an automated failover if it sees that one of the storages on any site, if the primary storage is down, it may just goes and switches over to the secondary storage, which actually kind of creates an RPO of around 120 seconds, which is acceptable for the clients, for the NFS clients in general. And once the data path is available from the secondary side, it actually ends up, using the other V server or other share server, which is on the secondary side, to serve the data. So it is like a zero RPO solution, right? So with that, we have the RTO as well, is not required because there is no remounting required, because these lists are actually present on both the sides, and you don't need to remount your shares once the secondary site is made available. So the data path is actually zero RPO. What Girish was also talking about was the control path, right? So in case, what happens is, now that your shares are available from secondary site, your backend has switched, and OpenStack may not be aware of that. So that is where we were looking for some guidance on, do we want to, so from a business continuity point of view, you have no downtime. The only problem comes when you're looking to add more shares to the backend, which is now secondary being the primary, or being the primary site. That is when we will need to do some additional updates to the existing shares. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kumar, you can go ahead and add.
Yeah. Go on.
Yep. In addition to what Anup had mentioned, so we will have the updates to the share, like share status update, or any other updates like ensure shares that will do that, right? So those also will be should be taken care by, because the primary site will be down ideally, right? So the secondary site has to be picked as the backend host. That is where we want to uh, kind of come up with some design how share replica has been handled or something. There are any ideas that would be helpful for us.
Right. So IOPath, we are very clear actually. OnTap will able to handle that because we have mediator which will take care of making the secondary site as a primary site. But OpenStack site, because my primary site is down, I was running on the secondary site. Now, if I want to provision the volume, because I don't have a connection object for the secondary, right? So how to do that? That part we are still exploring. So that is the means question here actually.
In this situation, are failbacks possible as easily? So should the primary recover at some point? Does failback bring things back normally, or does
Yes.
any more intervention required?
No, so in that case, the secondary becomes the primary, right? So you will again need to do a promote once the primary comes
Right.
back to make it primary again. You will have to do a promote again.
Yeah.
I mean, failure will not
The-
happen,
Yeah.
Gautam.
Okay. Makes
Yes.
sense. I mean, so the reason I was asking is because we built a lot of primitives in the replication workflow to account for stuff like this, saying that it's not just the data path; it's also the management path, where you have shares, you have snapshots. You want to continue to be able to operate them. Manila knows these because through a driver, and that driver in the secondary is also under. It's also a part of Manila's control plane, right? So that's how that was designed. So you actually have replication only because you have both backends managed by Manila, and there's like a seamless handover that happens. So when the next time something goes on the management path, it's going to the other driver that's actually talking to the to the backend, right? That where the replica itself is. Um, that sort of thing you'll see in the code. It's always where the active replica is. That's where the communication is happening. Um,
Yeah. No,
s-
in the layman term, if I see what, if I summarize what I had tested with, right, the share instance will always point to the active replica instance, and the failover happens, the active replica instance will be the share instance. That is how it will start pointing to that backend, right?
Correct. That makes it easier for the for Manila to just look at that instance as host and then direct all requests over there.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you need something like that over here, or if you're still able to control the secondary SVM from the same driver. Maybe all that complexity is not required, right? So your cluster becomes some sort of a parameter that you remember somehow, because I mean, where this SVM is the only variable, right? The same
So
driver is actually communicating to both places.
you mean to say we make it abstract to Manila and both the site actually, kind of are treated as one, and
Yeah,
whichever is
exactly. So
available
so
serves the data and serves the control path. Hmm.
pretty much, yeah. So your backend has now extended beyond clusters.
Yeah,
So it is managing both of them, managing resources in both of them. Um,
makes
that's
sense.
that's one way to go about it. And you can
Yep.
you can encode that information back into Manila. You have the driver private storage, for instance, to remember things, if anything, as to where is what. Um, but
So
uh, you'll have that complexity handled in the driver, is what I'm thinking.
But you will be touching all the workflows, right? Because different workflows will get different parameters for each life cycle hook. Let's say create
Yeah.
replica, create share, right?
So all
So
of those will be going to the driver that was always managing this
mm,
instance, and the driver can look up, and ask, where is this V server? Is this in the cluster, in this cluster or that cluster? Because
right.
I have access to both, and I'll direct
Right.
my requests to that.
Okay.
right.
Got it.
Uh,
That makes sense actually. So
Yeah.
I have one question around this, right? So when we do this, so basically, if we have to handle this, maybe we can intercept the V server, or basically get share server part, where we can actually always go and override it to to make it available from either site A or site B, depending on what is the mirror state, right? Something like that we can implement. Or
Hmm.
the other
Yeah.
choice that we were actually looking for was, should we make Manila aware of the actual storage backend, or basically the actual share server? Like if there is a un uh, what do you call it, untransparent failover that has happened, which Manila is not aware of, or OpenStack is not aware of. Should we detect that in a polled way, and go and change all the shares to point to that share server, which is actually now the primary. That is another design pattern we were thinking of. So these were the two patterns we were looking at to see, what would be the better solution. Because in that case, we don't have to do anything. We just manage the share servers in a transparent way after the failovers are done. If it is a planned failover, it is actually triggered by user, so we can create a loop there. If it is an unplanned failover, we can create a looped call and we can detect it, and then go and update the shares with the correct information that is there, so that the provisioning and the provisioning calls do not actually fail after the automated failover has happened.
Yeah, it's certainly in the same realm of things that we were thinking about earlier as well, right? This looks like something happened on the back end. I need to reconcile it, and
Right.
part of the reconciliation is, oh, my host changed, and I need to let Manila know about that. If I could make your idea generic, it's around that. Um, I guess I don't know. Maybe Morris would have preferences on this sort of thing, because you could also think about this being an operational concern. If the same driver is doing things magically, is that okay for me, or do I need some more control? And maybe there are going to be big gaps in the implementation because something breaks because you didn't cover all the use cases. So I might prefer updating the host and let Manila drive the provisioning properly, kind of thing. Yeah,
Maurice, Kiran.
Yeah, I think it sounds good. So I'm okay with that. So having that abstracted away.
Okay.
It's still the question. Still some of my questions I added at the bottom of the etherpad remain. Like how would we identify um, which share gets this feature, and which
Yep.
backends take part in this replication, in this new way. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think, Girish, we can take away that, we can see if, we can do this in the driver transparent.
Right.
I mean, without abstracting out, by abstracting, that might be the first preference. So let's do that brainstorming there and come back on that.
Yeah, right. I think, yeah, that because means making those changes in the core, it's kind of making those restriction for all the other driver which might be implementing this feature in feature in the future. So I think if we can handle this one based on that failover state uh, on the driver side, so I think that will be good from my point of view also.
Okay. Do you want to address that question, the next set of questions that maybe Maurice has about how to control this at share server level, how to make that participation from manila.conf versus, what is that you can pass in the volume or share creation um, to make it protected or unprotected.
Yeah. So we'll go the rest of the workflow actually. Kumar, can you just
Yeah, I have one question. So
yeah,
sorry,
mhm. Sure. Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
the driver will also need to update the host while promotion is happening. Or is that mean that share server replica will not be there. Everything will be handled inside driver, or share server replica will be there. But host promotion will happen implicitly or what? I didn't get this actually.
So share server replica will be there. It might have some particular state. So how we are just creating the volume on the backend driver, we should have that connection object, and then we'll making the means on type API call and creating the volume, right? So once it is in the failover, we need to acquire the connection object for the secondary, and through that we'll go and create the volume actually.
Now, how do you do that? Is the question, right?
That
Because
that will. Mm,
because the problem is the workflows will get a this thing certain thing. So you should be able to update the status or something inside a common object that will be passed to all the workflows.
So,
So
Kumar,
that
the way this might, or we may want to make it work is we may always get a single host. It may be down or up, depending on, what we detect in the backend. We may have to
hmm,
switch internally the host or the backend, right? So
okay.
that is one way of doing it. Or, we force Manila to send the right share server depending on, or detecting the failovers. That was the second approach. So if we are planning to go with abstraction to Manila, Manila always sees both the share servers as one, and the failover is actually internal to the driver, right? So we detect which is the right backend and where the IO is being served from, and we take the provisioning to that share server.
okay, I think we can
Uh,
discuss it.
yeah, we can discuss this. We'll do some POC, go through the code. We'll see that if there
Yeah.
is some way to getting the means secondary cluster information, whatever the object you're passing from the code. Okay.
I think in the spec that we write, we should keep both the approaches and wet it down and see, what works best here in a generic way.
Yeah. 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 Kumar, you're sharing, right? Can you just go through? Huh? So other workflow we have. So this is the API. I think it's not because it's supporting only that admin. So I will modify this API. So I will make it available only for admin. So I think that we are on the same page. So apart from that means in DB label we will have the two replica, two DB table, one for the say replica, other for its metadata. So this is the driver workflow we have. So first workflow we have that share server share replica creation. So in share replication, we are providing the option to and to the admin or user to include or exclude the list of share which he want to protect. Or if he is not providing any included exclude list, all the share under that SVM will be replicated to the secondary side. So in exclude list or include list, we can have the list of the share which you want to include, means you want to protect or you want to exclude. Also, we are supporting the regex. So user can also pass the regex, and based on that, it can figure out what are the list of the volume he want to protect, and it will go and protect those volume only. So these are the means things we are planning to implement as part of this. Okay. Deleting the share server replica. So yeah, Gautam.
Hey, Girish, sorry, I did not read far enough to actually see this part. This kind of makes thinking through the other parts very hard, right? So if you have an exclusion list, it
Mm-hmm.
makes more of a sense for then, you know, uh, surfacing things up to the end users and to the administrators. So that because if something goes missing because a promotion happened, you're now pointing to a different place. So the original share is unavailable. So what is it? What is the end user's experience with that? So we would probably just set the share to error. Their mounts are not working that they would have already figured out on the data path. Um, but on the Manila side, what will they see, and what else? What can they do? Uh, that might be the concern. I don't know whether operators really need this inclusion exclusion lists. Do they? Because when you think about it, like share servers are going to be created on the fly. Shares are going to start landing on them on the fly based on tenant actions. Yeah, it's possible. Yes, the operator can come around on day two and create a replica for them, and then they can make choices about including or excluding. But then users can end up deleting those shares, creating new ones. So how does this exclusion list or inclusion list continue to work? Because if the administrator is going to drive that, they'll have to keep up with that too. And yeah, it kind of keeps it may get out of hand. I feel like I don't know the value of this.
Okay. So so yeah, okay, just let me finish, Kumar. I will, okay. So include and exclude list will suppose means the workflow will be like as you have already mentioned that administrator is creating the first share at part of that share creation. We are creating the share server, then we create more share and 3, 4, 5 share, and it's possible as also that administrator is creating the share for the different application, and he now in this case first time when he want to create the replication, and on that he want to decide, okay, this is the set of critical uh, volume or share I have which I want to replicate for the end user also. So we have the option once we have the replication relationship created for end user also, if he want to protect his share as part of this SMS relationship, that option also we are providing. So that will be the other workflow which I will talk about later actually. But the first time when administrator is taking the action, so the control is only for him actually which set of the share he want to protect and which set of share he don't want to protect. But protecting it's his share means suppose that I want to create, end user want to create the share. So for him, if you want to create the share, so that control that end user will have. Yeah, Kumar, you want to say something?